Welcome to Chefs in the City. I'm Ann Fisher along with my co-hosts, Steve Stover and Rich Terapak, as always. We're back with more news of and views on the food scene in Central Ohio and beyond. Questions or comments, email us at chefsinthecity111@gmail.com. We're talking about specialty grocers today. And, you know, back in the day, it was Dean and DeLuca or Zabar's in New York City. Those are the first I ever saw. And that's still the case. They're still around. But nowadays, high-end specialty markets are part of the landscape in most big cities, including Columbus. The latest reliable numbers I could find from the Specialty Food Association showed the U.S. specialty food market hit $175 billion in sales. And that was in 2021. There's more recent numbers, I just wasn't sure about them. And accounted for as well about 21.9, or we could just call it 22% of all food and beverage sales in retail. Nice. But most consumers get those specialty foods in mainstream stores still, as traditional stores, you know, like Kroger, Meijer, that kind of a thing, have been stocking more of it. Think cheeses and everything else on that charcuterie board and more. But there's something about shopping in a store entirely dedicated to fine food. And that category locally now includes Littleton's, which opened in the Tremont Center in Upper Arlington in December 2023. Joining us today is Rob Littleton, Littleton's co-owner with his father-in-law, Alan Scantlin. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here. It's great.
Why a Littleton's? Why now?
Littleton's sort of started out of the pandemic. I was, and almost everybody was sort of work from home on a computer on Zoom all day, and also able to, daydream. So I was longing for and lots of people were connection with other people, and sort of had realized in the past I did food-based research for heart disease and cancer, realized food was like powerful in the health benefits, but also like part of health is a big part. It's like happiness and being together with other people. So that all kind of came together, and I was like, all right, this a concept of a grocery store, and the way it's been in the past iterations with Huffman's and Tarpey's in Upper Arlington were huge community gathering spots.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great opportunity to provide something that people would help people's lives, make life better and more fun. And so this was an attempt to provide lots of things that people enjoy and bring a community even more together than it already is. And that was how it was born. And then more pragmatically, we saw a few examples of Alan and I of small markets that were totally dedicated to the meal, that we were like, oh, we can see actually accomplishing this, where it just has those markets sort of had what you needed to make a really good meal. Focused on that.
And it's really unlike anything in Columbus or even Ohio. We call it Disneyland for foodies. But it's got a cafe that was named one of the top 10 new restaurants in Columbus by Columbus Monthly.
Congratulations.
Plus the specialty foods, the prepared foods that are not unique, but high-end with a real chef making them, making your own pastas. And so how did you get to that level?
That was really an extension of the meal. So we came in and we didn't at first think we would have the size of restaurant, especially we do now, but even at the beginning, we decided that like 2 months before we opened.
Oh.
And the whole one of the biggest ideas in it, the reason the Center Island sort of exists, is to say, all right, we have all these great foods you can buy and cook yourself, which we want you to do, but we also have prepared them for you. Same foods you're seeing in the market, you can buy in our Center Island, which is in the very center of the store. You can't miss it. And it's the same stuff we're making in our restaurant for you to eat. And we'll also teach you how to make it. So leveraging our ability to get and sell the best ingredients lets us put those in the food we make. And the restaurant was an extension of deciding we wanted to highlight our ingredients.
Help sell the food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they sell each other, and it's a virtuous circle. Right. Now, it took us a while to get there.
But you assembled an all-star team. You have a chef, Charlie. You have Chris Dillman, who's a notable sommelier in places like the refectory. James Williams, the butcher, who's a legend in his own time. But how did you get them all?
Well, the first person
James.
we hired that was actually on the team was Philip, who's also pretty much a legend in Columbus food. He owned a growler store called Growl that many people know in Clintonville.
Yeah.
But James was our first person we tried to hire, and it just took basically recruiting him subtly from. He's been at the store for the last 34 years, I think. Started when Huffman started. Yeah, we're like, we gotta get him. Yeah. And now James is just awesome. He's incredible. Like one of the best people. Yeah. I've ever met.
And he knows everybody. Even recognizes Steve when he comes in. Says Stover's in the house. So.
Oh yeah, from across the place. It's awesome. I wish I had his energy. It's incredible.
Well, it's funny that you came up with the idea for a restaurant, or at least you started on it just a couple months before you opened. Most people plan for years.
I remember this thing I said to somebody that's just ridiculous. But it was being super naive in some ways and saying like, I remember we're like, all right, we're going to do this. And then I remember saying to someone, well, all we really need is someone to like be able to write and take orders and take them back to the kitchen. And now I look back on that, I'm like, dear Lord, like that's just wrong and arrogant.
But you've learned.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going well.
And you survived.
Yeah, we learned a lot, and we've gotten good at rolling with punches.
What are some of the punches you've taken?
Really just learning what the customer wants is just a constant, I guess, learning to adapt all the time. Learning what the customer wants is a constant reevaluation.
Yeah, sure.
And so the most of the good punches come when we're doing things like starting the restaurant in 2 months, and it's really hard at first, and there are lots of kinks to work out. But then once you get there, it's like, oh, this is great. And so those are the good kind. The bad kind can be, and we've been very fortunate. Our staff is incredible, but people are the heart of our business, so the heartache comes from that too sometimes.
But you've got the beautiful patio. And the other thing about it that I think is unusual is it is a real gathering place at Upper Arlington. People go and drink coffee
which is what you wanted to accomplish.
Croissants,
exactly. And now that
more than I thought.
Now that the weather's getting better, except for maybe last night when we had a horrible storm, people are going to start thinking about coming to the patio.
I hope so.
And we were at the patio probably in a good day in November, I think. So
it opened for the season yesterday.
It opened yesterday. People were there, which is good, and we're opening up grilling too. So we didn't grill yesterday because the winds were too high.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be grilling.
What's that going to look like? Where does that happen?
Happens at the end of the patio.
In the cover,
or pavilion. Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a grill right there. We're going to put an umbrella over and stuff. But it's pretty out in the open, and we're just grilling in the elements out there. We're going to have a few steaks and salmon and I think shrimp skewers.
Oh, good.
And then we've got access to the entire other menu too.
Okay.
Outside on the pavilion. So our whole menu, the hamburger, the lobster roll people love, our steaks, our seafood dishes, all will be, even oysters, everything available on the pavilion.
And it doubles or triples the size of the number of people you can.
That's the hard and great part. It
literally hard
doubled
great.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
but you've also done table service everywhere. It used to be you'd go up to the counter and order your croissant or your sandwich, and then they would bring it to you.
Okay.
But now there's a booth. There are several booths in the back, and
but they'll go to your table to take the.
That's another thing. That was a learning process.
We had our Romeo retired old men eating out group and took all three booths. And
did you have to make a reservation?
They loved it. Yes, we had to make a reservation.
You can, yeah. Sometimes you pop in at I don't know, Monday through Wednesday is good, but like every restaurant, find more tables. But we'd like that to be full all the time.
Yeah.
It's something, there's a recurring theme to a lot of our conversations with chefs and proprietors and, across the board. And it's that kind of just getting together and hanging out is okay around food and drink.
That's what we want.
You know, I mean, it sounds prosaic. It sounds, no duh. But that's kind of newish. This feeling like you can just really hang out and it's okay.
It is.
Well, we're moving away from fast food.
Yeah.
That's part of it. You don't
Yeah.
pick it up and take
The
it home.
slow, you
And the
know,
Starbucks thing where you could go and
kind of, yeah.
take your computer,
was novel at the time.
proprietors don't love.
Yeah.
How do you kick people
Actually-
out?
Yeah, how do you kick
we,
people out?
we don't really have to, honestly. Like,
a
people
good
get
question.
it. You know, like if there's somebody, I love people working on laptops in there because I did that, you
Yeah.
know, all the time. I do that now. You probably see me there and I'm drinking coffee and working on a laptop.
Saw you Monday.
But yeah, when we're flooded, people get the point. I think our servers are good enough to not make people feel rushed out, but preempt any kind of like blocking a table for a family with one person type stuff, you know? That's the server, like you were talking about, whether, you know, we kind of started out with QR codes and we're like, we want to be very familiar with the customers and have great relationships. And so it's a great way to get to know customers. Our serving staff's become incredible.
Who
Which
trains
is
them?
critical.
They're really, really good.
Our restaurant manager's Trayvon.
Okay.
Yeah. And Trayvon actually
He gets it.
started out in the kitchen. And then we saw his talent with people and came into the front of house.
And he can appreciate what's going on in the kitchen too.
Exactly.
And that it
Right.
helps educate the servers as to what they expect out of the kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, running expo.
Yeah.
Yep.
And explain to the kitchen what's going on with the servers.
Yeah.
I mean, it can cut both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a sobbing server at one point in my life.
That relationship is so important.
Yeah.
And so hard to get right. And I feel like we have it going really well now. But you're right. The front of house, back of houses.
Yeah.
How many people are seated outside or can be seated outside?
100 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many inside?
Now close to 100, probably. Yeah.
Really?
Because we've
I've
got
been there.
what we can expand over to in front of the cash registers too. And there's another spot right in front of the island between the pastry
That's
case.
the,
It's like
family
16
table.
people. Yep. And we can push it together. And so we tried to put spots anywhere we could.
We'll
for the
see
winter.
Alan and your wife there from
Yep.
time to time.
Oh, yeah.
At
Yeah,
that
we're
table.
all there all the
High
time.
top, yeah.
Yeah. Family affair.
It really is.
Well, it sort of reminds me of the concept that Italy took off with in Manhattan. And
yeah, we
it-
started to study that.
And it works, and it's fun.
How did they start off? I don't know.
Gosh, it was probably
Holly, I think.
Okay.
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 That's an interesting concept.
It is.
Italy
It's-
is.
I felt there and it really resonated because it's like a market feel, which I like. The sort of
Yeah.
like tossing a fish over a counter type. You see the whole animal and then also like really, refined offerings.
yeah.
Hudson Yards did that for a while with the
Okay.
What?
A nice rooftop.
When I'm reading about Littleton's versus when I just go in there and am mesmerized by it, I understand that you offer many products from growers and suppliers not previously available in Central Ohio. Is that still the case? Did I misread that?
Yeah, so examples, a few really great suppliers we have. First of all, I went over our local suppliers to get ready for the show, and it's like, holy cow, we're actually really good at it. That's what I started out wanting to do, and I'm like, oh my god! And there's some of our best, yeah, there's some of our best like products too. And I was just overseas and came back, and I'm like, when Columbus is good at our peak, we're as good as anywhere. And so. Yeah, our suppliers, we have about like over 150 suppliers, and the local ones that have made a huge impact, and I almost don't want to say their names, but whatever. Owl's Nest Floral, all of our floral comes from Owl's Nest, and they're at farmers markets, so you can get them at farmers markets. Otherwise, it's just at our store. Sweetgrass Dairy is doing a lot of eggs for us, and we're the only outlet you can get them now, I believe, except for maybe one other small place. But we're a lot of their production. They are at farmers markets too. So we also host the farmers market.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the early ideas was we want the farmers market actually at our outside the store, so that it's a great.
synergy.
Yeah, synergy, right? Like we have some of the products, we don't have all the products. The people can come and get their milk and eggs if they're not at the farmers market in Littleton's or whatever's missing. And it worked out super well. So that'll be happening mid-May also.
I think May 17th, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14th.
I'm super
Or
excited
May
about
14th,
that.
pardon me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have many products that aren't available in Columbus. Generally, or if they are available, they're at smaller places like Aardvark or whatnot, because we've intentionally minimized our exposure to the big box distributors. Not that we're against it or anything, but we've branched out to provide any product we feel like we should have as best we can.
And it supports the community. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
terrific.
they're more resilient. During the egg shortage,
Interesting.
what's really interesting is we were full of eggs because Sweetgrass is a small farm who isn't part of the large egg production.
Right.
And so the disease doesn't spread to them as fast as it does these giant places where the chickens are kept closer together. These guys are in a
Right.
pasture. So
And doesn't
that's a
James
huge advantage.
source some of the meat from Ohio producers?
Almost all the meat you see in
Yeah.
the case is Ohio.
Well, he has a lamb guy and
Yeah.
near Zanesville and another one up near Akron or something like that he
Yeah.
gets from.
I should say all the beef and lamb and stuff, mostly Ohio, except we'll go outside for the best stuff,
Yeah.
for sure. Like can't get Japanese A5 Wagyu in Ohio, but we do have Wagyu that's come from Ohio, and we get it from other places too. But yeah,
That's cool.
Most of our beef is from local Ohio farms.
That's so cool.
Your bakery's recently expanded to North Market.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that. What's the thinking with that?
Well,
make a
So
space.
tell us
that
about
we-
your bakery.
yeah.
I mean, they must be doing gangbusters, I assume.
it is, and it's like the thinking behind it was we needed good sourdough, we needed good baguettes, and we needed good croissants. And buying all those things throughout the basically the producers who produce them we couldn't figure out the right schedule because they have their own businesses to run, right? So we couldn't like supply ourselves with their supplies as well. So we were like, we're just gonna go ahead and make our own. In lots of cases, we still have tons of local bakers, but so we needed a baguette, we needed a sourdough, and we needed croissants and those kind of things.
Focaccia.
So we just
Yeah.
and the opportunity at North Market came about, and we had brought Aaron on board before that. Aaron Klaus, our pastry chef.
He was formerly with Parable.
Yeah, he was formerly
Okay.
with Parable. He's James Beard nominated. So we thought we had a good shot at making good pastries. And Desi,
It might work
Desi
out.
who works
You
in
weren't
bread, is
exactly
also
winging it.
super talented.
Right,
Yeah. And so now we're starting to ramp up our pastry production and bread production too. So some cool things that are coming are like eclairs. We're having a line of eclairs.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got cinnamon rolls that are just nuts.
Oh, where are they?
They're up front right next to the case. Yeah.
Right
Next time
by-
you're in,
by
I'll
the
bring it
baguette?
to you.
Oh,
They're nuts.
yeah.
They're laminated, so there's like a million flaky layers in them. And I eat it. They're good cold too. And we're coming in with macarons, and we have some really good macarons, or macaron, I guess. Is not,
Macaron, yeah.
macaron, yeah. And so, yeah, bakery and pastry are expanding too.
How's
Wow.
the traffic at the North Market?
Oh, good. Yeah. It's interesting.
Construction
Different.
worries me. I need to get all that
Yeah,
stuff
that
going on.
building's
Yeah.
getting awful big.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
It's been,
It's
the
weird.
relationship with them has been great. And the business has been honestly really steady, even though it's largely driven by events at the convention center across the street. We sell a little bit different of a mix. In that we sell, I think, more pastry at the North Market, more bread at Littleton's, but that makes sense because at
Yeah,
Littleton's
yeah.
you're
People
buying a whole
wander
meal
around.
of
Yeah.
bread. Yeah.
Your stock and trade, you said that you did food research. I mean, you're not from the restaurant or the food business,
No.
the grocery business.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, has there been any surprises for you? Any unexpected joy? Any unexpected horrors? You know, I mean, I'm just kind of
So
curious to be getting into something so far
Yeah.
from your comfort zone. I guess.
Yeah. The unexpected things. I like doing new things. So that's,
Okay,
yeah,
so you
I've-
like
I've jumped
risk-taking
around
and
a lot.
yeah, okay.
I used to be in, so the science world is a lot like cooking. So I was doing 50% like computer work, 50% lab research, and the lab research is pretty much like baking. You follow a recipe in a lot of ways, mix it together.
Yeah, cooking
Hopefully
is
it comes
also
out well.
It's also
Try to avoid the chemistry part of it.
But the
myself.
food based, I've always been interested in. I did work as a server for a little bit, but that doesn't really.
Well, it gave you an appreciation.
Yeah, it gave me an appreciation for it. But,
Sure does.
Yeah.
Sure does.
But yeah, it was the thing I've been, I guess, most surprised by is for myself and how much I like being in the store and just talking to people and whatnot. And because my last roles were obviously more like doing math and coming up with experiments and stuff, but I love this sort of host role and being in there. I still do the math and whatnot with our analytics. And the people, it's just a whole culture that I found is really interesting and great. Everyone just loves
you
food.
win with people, and
Yeah.
you have assembled quite a team.
Thanks a lot.
From the chef
Yeah.
to the sommelier to the parable baker, and it's amazing.
And they're all really, really good people too, which is nice. We don't have any people who are really talented but mean or anything.
Divas, that kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They team players were all in it, I think, to win. And yeah, the love people have for food and customers is just, I'm honestly surprised by it.
It makes me think about when we talk about the divas and all that kind of stuff, the whole food thing. It can be, a lot of people are intimidated by it. They're maybe, they're not you guys, you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but because you've grown up in it and you've been teaching cooking for 40 plus years and whatnot. And, but some people are still very intimidated by it. To go into Littleton's, it's
point.
like, I don't know what to pick. I don't know who to ask or what to ask, but they want good food just like anybody else does.
Well, they're
what's so
coming
great.
in now.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about having the food right there. You can order it as well. You can taste it before you decide to buy 6 pounds of morels.
Yeah.
Yeah. People there to talk to.
And you can taste the wine.
Yeah, you can taste the wine.
We really try not to be, we're not trying not to be pretentious, but we try to be very approachable and fun.
It was.
I found that way for
very
sure.
I
I
feel the
found it
same
that way.
Yeah.
In places that feel like
Yeah.
too much. I'm like, I don't want to talk. But
Yeah, I
we
used to
tried
feel
it.
like in Dean and DeLuca, sometimes you felt like, I'm not worthy. to
I'm
be
not-
here.
yeah.
we want it to
Yeah.
be beautiful but approachable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not worthy, that kind of a thing, or do I deserve this? There's something you do, a sip and stroll event?
Yeah, that's fun.
Is this a Dora situation?
No,
Okay.
we've toyed with that idea, but haven't
It's
seriously
inside
pursued
the-
it.
it's
It's
inside-
inside. You
okay.
can go out to our pavilion though. So like that whole area, you can walk in and out.
Oh, you mean
without
I could walk around and grocery shop?
Yes,
and
that's
the
so
idea.
funny to see this guy
Oh my God!
pushing a
That's
cart.
Why isn't anybody?
And he's got
It was actually designed for that.
he's got a glass of wine
Yeah.
in the cart.
Okay, you got a thing in the cart, or you can.
You can people walk around with
my
their friends. That's
God.
the thing.
A
that
couple
people do
in
is fun.
the cart?
Yep, we got couples
that's
first
right.
on the little carts.
Yeah.
And people walk around with their friends and drink wine and shop. That was the.
And they'll
and
probably
it
buy
works.
more with a little wine.
I probably
That's it.
would.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it was
I'm
like
feeling it.
we were like, how do we get people to shop and eat in the restaurant and do both? And this was one solution. That
Yeah.
people, it's fun. And the other thing, the wine team is really good at. So sip and stroll is we usually sample about 3 wines. You pay $5, you get samples of all 3 wines, and usually we're highlighting wines that are affordable but really good. And that's where we're obviously able to pick out with Dillman and his team the best wines available, but the real winners are the ones that are priced in a way that you can afford every day, but are also super good.
Can you repeat the 3 for $5?
Yeah.
3 for $5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's every
Yeah, they
every
were
Monday,
setting
Wednesday,
up. We were
Friday.
there the other day for lunch, and they were setting up for the.
Stroll.
You could spend the
sip
day
and
there.
stroll.
You could.
Yep.
It is like
That's what we want.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
For
See,
Lots of people come back and
$15
buy.
worth the first day.
I think I was looking at your menu, and they have a kids menu, and it cracked me up that you've got, fresh made pasta with butter
Yeah.
for the kids. Well, that's what everybody wants.
I mean, I love that too.
Yeah.
Some chili flakes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
haven't seen that.
it's just it's fancy.
We
for
want the kids eating as well as the adults. And
How about the
because
master classes? Don't you have some?
Yeah.
Talk
Oh,
about
what are
those.
those? Yeah.
that we started out with cheese and charcuterie, and we actually started out calling it like learn charcuterie or something, and nobody bought the tickets. And then we're like, wait, we have really talented people who are actually like masters in this stuff.
You had to
So we
teach
called it
Marketing,
master class, and
marketing,
then boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
It scared people.
Yeah, exactly. The master class worked. And so now it sells out pretty much right when we release it.
What are
online.
some of the things you've done?
Yeah, so it's really focused on region. So we'll do like French cheeses and meats, and then Spanish. I think they
How
started with
frequently?
Spanish.
Every week?
Right now, it's once a month on Thursdays, I think. Yeah,
Which Thursday? First Thursday?
I think the third, but I'm gonna eat my
Have to
words
go
on that
on.
one.
Well, you got to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
online.
Yeah, go on. Go
We'll
to
post the link.
littletonsmarket.com,
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
And
we'll
you've got
post the
terrible
link.
at
Yeah.
dates.
And you've got a
I don't
great
even know what day it
website, too.
Yeah, it is a good
Yeah.
website.
Yeah,
I got
thanks.
lost in it and got hungry again once
That's what we
again.
want.
Yeah,
And then clicking to buy things.
yeah. Well, Rob Littleton, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
It's been a lot of fun.
And thanks for
Enjoy the
bringing the
store.
store to us.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
terrific.
Thanks for
keep it
taking
up.
a risk.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
And keep having fun. Yeah.
That's Rob Littleton. Best wishes for every success with Littleton's in Upper Arlington. We'll have a link to that, wherever you get your podcast. We'll post a link with it. To our audience, please like, subscribe, and share Chefs in the City with your crew. Contact us at chefsinthecity111@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at Chefs in the City 614. And join us, Steve Stover, Rich Terapak, and me, next time, because a great meal is best shared. We actually get hungry here. We eat later. I'm Ann Fisher with my co-host Rich Terapak and Steve Stover. Take care.
Boxland Media. Think big.